Let's see if it's working. I don't know if it's working. That's the one. That's the one. I swear I do this every time. Oh, it's us. Okay. I think it's working. I don't know if anyone is here though. So I don't know how we can test it. I don't want to do that.
That looks really delayed.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a delay. Since don't mind the popcorn, guys. My dear Mrs. Retro is a popcornaholic. I think that she eats popcorn at least twice a day. Oh, well, hello everyone. Okay. Why is it showing up in one place and not the other? Huh. Wow, that is significantly delayed, isn't that? Interesting. Okay. Well, Tyler, Eric, glad you're here. I've got a special guest, the best part of returning retro, Mrs. Retro, who puts up with all of my shenanigans. How is the audio, by the way? I've got a little bit of a different mic setup than I normally do. Can you guys hear me okay? And in the meantime, I'm going to see if I can figure out how to get warning the stream. What? Guys, we're getting all kinds of weird stuff going on here.
You're supposed to be a pro.
I am supposed to be. Oh, there we go. Sounds good. All right. We're jamming now, my friends. Okay. Well, yes, I did invite Mrs. Retro to join me. I don't know how long she'll be here. She's got several episodes of her shows that are waiting for her. But yeah, I thought she could. Oh, a bit on the quiet side. Speak up, dear. They're saying they can't hear you. Why is it? Oh, you know what? I wonder if I know what's going on, guys. Hold on. Okay, try that now. I'm not talking any louder, but I turned the mic up quite a bit. Let me know if that makes any difference at all. And my Mrs. Retro is just kind of shy, so she's probably going to talk a little bit quiet, which she's actually not shy. She's just shy right now. And I'm going to pull up. I did write down some stuff that I wanted to talk about tonight, you guys. So I'm going to pull that up right now if I can remember where I saved it. Better. Nice. All right. Thank you, Eric. Okay. So, how do we want to do this, you guys? Earlier today, I was able to jump on and do a retro chatter episode with Ole, which the kids have already watched a big portion of. They really like Ole. I'm not really sure why. I know why I like him. I don't know.
To meet him.
Yeah. Mrs. Retro got to. Well, maybe we can tell that story. So, CES this year was awesome, and it happened during the week of Mrs. Retro's birthday, and totally forgot this until the event itself.
The infamous January 6th.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, January 6th. Yeah, there you go. Spencer, who came with me to CES, who helped myself and Ole and some of our friends down there with some of the the crew work. His wife also born on January 6th, and so we actually had them come down and meet us in Vegas one of the nights of CES, and we went and saw a show, The Wizard of Oz, in Sphere, and Ole came with us and had a great time. It was really fun. We did go to the Hofbräu house for dinner before that, and so yeah, he's a great sport. But anyway, I'll try and figure out. Let's see. It'll probably show up over here. I'll try and link to that for people coming back and watching this after that would be interested. But yeah, I always have a fun time chatting with Ole. So let's see. This is the itinerary for this evening. Is there anything that you would particularly want to be around for? Anything catch your eye? Like I said, guys, I wrote stuff down this time. It's going to be a little bit more organized, even though the beginning of this is not with the mic problems.
Nope.
Not at all. Okay, well then we're just going to dive into it, my friends. So I'm going to split the stream up into a couple of different sections because I thought maybe that would be helpful just for the sake of making chapters and going over stuff. Section number 1 is we're gonna go through some smartphone updates. So I'm glad you guys can't see it, but my desk has all kinds of stuff all over the place.
Did I count the phones?
No, don't do that. The first
At least
one,
12.
yeah, probably more. We're going to talk about the iKKO Mind 1. So there was an update that got pushed out. I can't remember how recently it was, but fairly recently. Shiki messaged me and said, "Hey, the update is here." And I don't know, like I don't have an exclusive change log on what all that update included, but two things notably that it did include were the ability for tap to pay to work. So the phone has NFC, but up until this update came through, you couldn't actually use it to use tap to pay at any kind of point of sale system. It would let you upload. It used to let you upload or like log into Android Pay, but then if you tried to actually like link your card and do all this stuff, it would just say this phone is not compatible or it doesn't work or what have you. So they fixed that. I think I have seen people reporting. I haven't had a chance to test it on mine yet, but that is reported to have been fixed. And then another one that I did notice a big difference. I'll do a follow-up video to show a little bit later, and like more of a longer-term review video with the iKKO. But the camera, so one of the things it's got, for those of you that aren't familiar, it's got this pretty cool flip-out camera that makes it so that when you're taking, selfies, it's the same.
Is there a button that will make it come up, or do you have to manually?
No, this one's manual. Yeah, some of the older phones from like, I'm thinking of like the OnePlus. I'm thinking of, there were a couple of them that had like a pop-up, but this one, it just, you have to manually manipulate it.
Yeah, it's probably better.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I oftentimes put it at a 90-degree angle, and then I'll just set it so that I can see it better. But anyway, the camera before the update. What's that?
Someone said easy on the hardware. Oh, for me.
Oh yeah.
I will not handle.
She does.
any more
She does her
hardware.
best. She does her best. Thank you, Eric. Oh, the camera. So the picture quality was okay, but it wasn't super great either. And even after the update, it's not like flagship level. But I've noticed there is a noticeable difference in the photo quality after the update compared to before the update. So, and I don't have an exhaustive change log. At least I'm not aware of one that exists. Maybe they may have published it in their Reddit or their Facebook group. I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook these days, so I don't know. But I wanted to let you guys know about that. Let's see. Oh, Tyler, my friend, we got a question. I'm slightly curious on what phone Mrs. Retro uses. Oh boy. And what her thoughts are on your more obscure phones, if she's willing to share. Are you willing to share?
I am an iPhone user. He has tried to convert me many, many, many times, but this is my iPhone. I don't even know what number it is.
So I do have a Clicks case for it, by the way.
Which I have used and I do like. I just am faster. This is just
I think it's the 16 Pro Max.
I like the big screen because I'm always taking pictures of the kids and I can see videos and pictures really well.
Yeah. For those that didn't know, we do have a few kids, and so she does. And you said also with the Clicks, didn't you say it didn't have like the emoji suggestions?
And I didn't even realize how much I used that, but there was something about the predictive typing that didn't come up like it does when I don't use it. So.
Right. And then Tyler has asked, what are your thoughts on my obscure phone preference?
I just let him do what he wants. I just say go for it. Makes him happy. I do like the little tiny phone. That's one that I maybe could see myself using, but it feels a lot like a tiny iPhone.
Yeah, I believe you are talking about the Bluefox, but I don't.
Yes.
Oh, right there. Too far away. But thank you, Tyler. I love the question. We got. I'm gonna move this over here so you can hear me again. We've got Vic talking about the drama. No, there's no drama between Retro Jake and Mrs. Retro, and I'm not even being sarcastic. We are actually best buds. And then what you want TV? Have you received a new update on the keyboard case for iKKO? Great question. What you want? I actually was just getting to that this was something that I wanted to go over. So we're going to go over to my fancy little OBS. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see this. So this was an email that was sent out, when was it? Yesterday, actually. So they gave a shipping update that is going to be, their shipping schedule is going to be affected by the Lunar New Year. But one thing I was really disappointed to see here, the keyboard accessory update. So in an email prior to this, they had said they're only going to be shipping 800 to 1,000 of the keyboards prior to the Lunar New Year, and only black ones, which I ordered a white one, so I wasn't getting one anyway. But during final mass production of the keyboard accessory, we discovered that after the painting and baking process, some units developed a slight deformation, preventing a perfect fit with the phone. Rather than shipping a product that does not meet our quality standards, we made the decision to pause keyboard shipments and take additional time to correct the production process. Combined with the Lunar New Year logistics shutdown, we prioritized ensuring that all phones could get shipped first. We appreciate your patience and work to deliver an accessory that meets the level of quality that we expect from them. So, unfortunately, yet more delays, which I look at this a couple of different ways. One, I really have to give iKKO a bunch of credit for the updates. I mean,
it sounds like good communication. That's nice that they're at least
explaining.
and
Yep. I'm not sure if you can hear it from that far away. But yeah, great communication. I've done a number of different Indiegogo and Kickstarter campaigns, and even when there are delays, the ones with good communication make a big difference and usually are a sign of a solid company and a solid campaign longer term. But it is disappointing that we're hit with another delay. But this was always going to be the case. I mean, a lot of you know I've followed the progress of the Clicks company, Clicks Tech, and their keyboard accessories, and they've documented their processes, and it's tough. Hardware in and of itself is tough, but quirky hardware I think is even tougher. So this doesn't surprise me that there is yet another delay, especially considering the fact that they are fitting in the mutt. They're fitting in the battery, the hi-fi DAC, as well as the full QWERTY keyboard. So disappointing, also somewhat expected, and honestly, I'm okay with this. I think that their approach is good to make sure that they take the time that they need to deliver something that meets expectations. But yeah, so I hope that answers your question. And then, however, related to that, I am really excited to get once the power keyboard ships. In fact, how can I show you guys this? Shoot. A friend of mine sent me a picture that someone had photoshopped of the Mind One with the power keys, which I don't have, but I can show you like underneath with my my Zitao keyboard. Someone had photoshopped that with the power keys, and it looked real good. So I'm excited to give that a try because I don't know. I'm excited to try it with a lot of different phones, obviously, as I know a number of you are. I think Tyler, is it you that has the iPhone mini? I can't remember, but in any case. So let's see. I think that is everything on the Mind One. If you guys have any other questions about it, those are really the only things that I have for updates at this point. But going along with the small phone theme, there was another update for another one of my favorite phones. In fact, I am going to reach back and grab the NX1 here. So for those of you that haven't seen it before, I'll give you a little side-by-side with the Mind One. Yeah, next to a 16 Pro Max. So the Bluefox NX1 is one of the devices that I have been the most impressed with and pleasantly surprised by. I thought you were going to say something.
No, I'm just reading.
And they also just barely pushed out an update. I want to bring your attention to two things that are really nice to have in this update. Bam, right there. I'm not sure if you guys can read that. I think it should hopefully be big enough that you can see it. So they did finally add the face unlock. So the NX1 finally has biometrics. It doesn't have a fingerprint scanner, and for those of you that aren't familiar with the progress of this device, for the longest time it was a PIN or a password only, but now there's the face unlock, and it works really well. I noticed even with my glasses, it didn't have a problem. Which, by the way, sorry, I know you guys can see the reflection in the light, but Mrs. Retro can attest, I've got like 5 different tiles on my screen here, and so everything's really small.
Call it your space station.
Yes, my space station setup. For those of you that also don't know, I'm an accountant, and so I have a large monitor. I like using one. I don't have the
So
dual.
you used to have like 3.
Yeah, I used to have a few. Didn't work out for me. My colleagues think I'm kind of weird. My boss uses a 4 monitor setup. Yeah, he's got like the whole thing. But yeah, I just like the one. So that means everything's a little bit smaller. So sorry for the glasses. Anyway, the face unlock works really cool. And then another thing I was excited to see that they had added is the dynamic island functionality. So they've named it the exact same thing I think that Apple uses for their stuff. And I have it turned off at the moment. I don't know if it's got a charge. Testing. Oh, it's powering up. Let's see. Maybe, maybe not. It's taking a minute. While we're waiting for that. Oh, Tyler's back. Okay, speaking, okay, Eric, Sidephone. Oh, we're going to talk about Sidephone, Eric. Don't you worry. We'll come back to that. No, I'm on a Pixel 7 with graphene. I couldn't bring myself to relearn iOS. Shoot, I thought maybe I apologize. I thought it was someone else. Discord, yes, the infamous Discord, yes. So I did go ahead and shut down my server, my own server in Discord. I haven't shut down my Discord completely because there are a number of projects that still host their communities on Discord that I am either helping out with or so. Yeah, my migration away from Discord is partial at this point. Aha, okay, let's see. Let me show you. I gotta get a white screen so you guys can actually see the background.
So cute.
And again, guys, like I said, the NX1, of all of the devices I have gotten since I started my channel in February of last year. By the way, the channel's 1 year old, yay, balloons. This has been the surprise hit, the NX1. I had the least expectations going into it, and it has been the most impressive it was, I pre-ordered it as part of their Kickstarter, so I don't even know if it was $100 in the pre-order Kickstarter Indiegogo price. And it's just an awesome little phone. But yeah, so it right now has the, it takes the crown for the most impressive compared to my expectations. I'm going to put on airplane mode so that all my notifications don't keep coming through. There is a reason okay, here we go. Dark theme turned off. Okay, there we go. So you guys can kind of see right up there at the top, there is a massive camera and ambient light sensor cutout. And up until this update, it would just sat there black. Now, I was hoping that with the update, the internals would be somewhat usable for notifications and whatnot, but it's not that. It actually just extends the island out further to the left and to the right. And you can see, for example, if you've got music playing, it will show you the name of the track on one side and something on the other. I don't remember. I just did this update yesterday. I hadn't realized it had come through until the last couple of days, so I haven't played around with it too much. But, and then the other thing that was, right here. This was one that was kind of weird. When you left it on the stock home launcher, you could not remove the Google search bar. It was just stuck there forever. So that was something I wanted to tell you guys about. So I would say if you are looking for a small phone, especially now that the NX1 does have biometrics, I think it is a very, very pleasant overall experience. I mean, I liked it before just fine, but it does not have NFC and it does not have 5G, so you have to be in an area where your LTE is doing okay. But I can wholeheartedly recommend the NX1 IR blaster on the top, and it is a hybrid SIM tray, so you can do SIM plus SD card on that one. So, okay, we've got what you want. Wonder if Zinwa is going to switch to Telegram too. LOL. Oh man, I do not think that would happen. Zinwa has. I'm not even in that server. It got to be a bit too busy for me. I've actually left a number of servers. They got really busy, but I mean, fact check me here, guys. But there must be. I don't know what it's got to be close to 6,000 or 7,000 people in that server. That would be a madhouse switching over to Telegram. But yes, I did switch over to Telegram. Definitely, the Telegram group will be around in perpetuity. I may also look at some of the other options for people to be able to join in that don't have a smartphone. Telegram used to let you set up an account using like a landline or a dumb phone. They would like call you with a verification code, but I think that has since been removed. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm also not in any particular hurry to do that, just because I got a lot of other stuff going on, so I don't want to overcommit myself. Okay, and now we're going back to Eric. I think you had asked about Sidephone, wasn't it? Yes. Okay, let's jump over to the Sidephone. So, Sebastian, 2 days ago, gave a shipping update on the Reddit page. Hey everyone, update on the shipping front. Orders have been prepped in Texas, and we've been waiting for keypads to arrive to generate and send out tracking numbers. FedEx's system has told us the keypads were on the way and arriving since Tuesday without any additional information. This made planning a bit difficult. It would have been unfortunate and double work for all parties involved to have shipments split. I agree with this. I think this was probably smart given the fact that they knew it was just around the corner, only to have keypads arrive a couple days later. This morning we were informed for the first time the keypad shipment required additional info for clearance. The appropriate info was promptly sent to FedEx. We're now waiting to hear back. We will continue to update everyone as these final items make it through the warehouse. Great, and then even better news. Shortly thereafter, Chris went in and replied to a comment. FedEx estimated Monday afternoon delivery, making it Tuesday at the earliest. So I did reach out to them and ask about this, and they said yes, they received the notification, so they are expecting delivery Monday, Tuesday-ish of those keypads. And so I think, fingers crossed, we are going to start to see tracking numbers for those shipments show up here this week. So I think we're finally right there. That's you remember Sidephone, the one with the interchangeable, yeah. One of these, you guys, one of these devices, I'm gonna find one that I can get her to kick her iPhone habit. We'll see. But in all, I mean, I don't know. I will say, she, and even to an extent, I still have as my primary device that I'm carrying around my Pixel 9 with my Clicks keyboard case, because it is pretty good to get some high-res pictures of the kids when they're doing just the most horrific nonsense that you would never expect in the cutest possible way. So yeah, we got to find something.
You're just scared of Apple. You didn't like using my MacBook the other night. The keypad was stressing you out.
Yes, confusing, lame tech tends to stress me out. No, people love their Apple. I just do not love Apple. Henry, hey, Henry is in the house. Henry, my friend, did the shirt arrive, and did it fit? I'll just leave it right there. Respond if you want to.
Henry, we have a son named Henry.
Yes, I don't know if I mentioned that. one of our boys. Okay, let's see. We're now going to take a break, and Mrs. Retro is going to do a dance for us while I sing. Just kidding. Okay, good. So let me take a little sip here.
Any guesses what Jake is drinking?
Heroes in the Half Shell. Turtle Power. You started this. You tell him.
No one's guessed yet. No one's gonna get it.
Should we awkwardly wait? Are these, is it a common thing? Are they?
I don't know. Come back to it.
Okay, we'll come back to it. Okay, so moving on, I actually have some dumb phone stuff to talk about. Okay, here we go. Let's see what Eric has to say real quick. Fingers crossed on that. I can't wait to get my Sidephone and get the 3x6.5-inch Galaxy S22 Ultra out of my pocket. Yes, the Ultra is large. Here's the thing. I love the Ultra. It's something that I love. Dex. I love the camera. I love the S Pen. I love everything about the Ultra except my proclivity to doom scrolling makes it so it's just, I don't know. It's just it's just tough. Now we'll see. I haven't revisited the Ultra since I kind of went through my whole returning retro. Some of you may have seen either the article I wrote on Crackberry or the video that I posted about that. And yeah, I don't know. I definitely worked my way through some of the traps that I would sort of fall into. But at the same time, that's a big phone, even with power keys using that would be, and I'm at the point now where I almost have to have a physical keyboard, with strangely the exception being these small phones for some reason, but even then I could use those with power keys. See, yeah, here I've started rambling. Sweetie, you gotta keep me on task. Ooh, okay, we got some guesses. So Tyler, water. Tyler, you are 50% correct, my friend. Henry, Dr. Pepper. No, but yeah, that is Diet Dr. Pepper is Mrs. Retro's.
You always give me a hard time when I crack one at like 10 p.m. I just think I'm immune to caffeine at this point.
Yes, she is one of those, which I guess is actually a thing. Was it you that was looking into it, or some people caffeine like doesn't have the effect of like reducing the tired or the fatigue phenomenon.
It's just having 3 kids.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe I don't know. So let's see. So yes, Henry. Is that actually what this is?
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. So she actually is drinking the Diet Dr. Pepper.
He's drinking cotton candy flavor liquid IV.
Yes. Which I'm sure someone was just about to guess that, my dear. I'm sure someone was just about to guess that.
It's the best flavor.
Okay, what you want? Back with some more. I know you said you are choosing the Sidephone as your family weekend phone and the Clicks as your work phone. I'm hoping I got that correct. Did you choose these? Why did you choose these versus over the? Man, that's a good question. A couple of here you just asked to follow up. Also, do you think typing on the Sidephone will be faster than typing Click since you have had the BB Pearl? Ooh, these are asking the good questions here. Typing on the BlackBerry Pearl back in the day, I got to be where I was quite quick. The thing that I liked about it was because and similar to the compact QWERTY, similarly, it's just 2 letters per key for those that aren't familiar. And so you just don't have to, there aren't as many buttons to press. And so the muscle memory, I think, can learn quicker and maybe a little bit, it's just less that you have to keep track of. And so I think that you can type better. Nice.
I want to see, does this show up?
What are we showing?
My keyboard phone from back in the day. And I'm curious what...
Here, let's do this.
What keyboard phone you
what's
would say
what's
would be
the
the closest
what's the model
thing?
number?
I don't know.
Samsung.
Propel is what it's called.
Let's do this.
I was really fast on that.
So that our friends can follow along with us.
I had the red and white one.
The red and white one. This one?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. See now see, I'm sure that she was expecting to be out of here by now, but now you're getting her pulled in. Let's see, open image in new tab. Oh, that's tiny. Can't hardly see it.
Cute design on the back.
Okay, hold on, guys. I gotta get you a higher resolution. Was that it? Mm-hmm. Oh, but this is so low res. I guess that's what happens when you start looking up pictures of phones from like 20 years ago.
That's the only keyboard phone I loved.
Okay. Does it let me look at a bigger picture? It does not. Okay, well, this will work. Okay, guys, here we go. So tell the story. I don't even know if I know the story. This was your...
I don't have a story. That's just...
Was this your first phone?
No, probably third phone. My first was a flip.
Okay.
Nokia, I think.
So this, I was surprised, my friends, when I gave her the Clicks keyboard case for her iPhone, because she pretty much immediately like just dove in, and she was going, I mean, not quite as fast as me, having used them for like 2 years at this point, but way quicker. And I was like, I asked her, because I hadn't realized, I thought she had just had T9 phones before going iPhone.
I could type on that under my desk without looking.
Yep, you heard it. Yep, being able to without looking. So going back to what you want, your question, that's one thing that I really like. I've gotten now with the Clicks case that I can do a pretty good job without looking, but the Sure Type / BlackBerry Pearl / now the compact QWERTY on the Sidephone, it just, you have more real estate on each button, but it's the perfect middle ground between not enough flexibility with a T9 and maybe too much flexibility for the case of just sending quick messages of a full QWERTY. And so this is a long-winded way of saying I just kind of like having a device that is less prone to distraction, even if it is marginally so, in that the Sidephone and the communicator both have significantly smaller screens than, you know, your mainstream, like certainly more so than my Pixel. But the fact that Sidephone has the compact QWERTY keyboard, which I'm just super excited for, has the modularity to where, you know, I'm fully planning on putting my MP3 library on it, and so having Sundial to be able to use that when I want to, as well as all of the upcoming ones that they haven't even, you know, told any of us yet. Fingers crossed for a gamepad. I just think that will make for a better personal, like primary device, personal device, you know, evening device. I almost switched to the German. That was weird. The weekend device, whereas communicator, the biggest thing that I use my phone for, my work phone for, is communicating. Outlook with emails, Teams with messages, you know, calling, texting, that kind of thing. And so, and not to mention you've got the full keypad. So if I did need to jump on to a spreadsheet or something, it would naturally lend itself better to the communicator than it would Sidephone. So it's kind of a long-winded answer, but hopefully that's what you were looking for. Solid name, great. Yep. Henry is a great name. Let's see, my wife's fave too. No caffeine effect either. Well, look at that. Look at that. Some wife camaraderie. Yes. Henry, if you can make it to Intech in August, bring your wife and they can hang it. Yes. We have all the soda shacks. Which this is a total tangent. So one of the things that Utah is becoming known for is what we call like a soda shack on virtually every corner. And I don't know, I know that some of the surrounding states, it's like started to move out a little bit, but imagine like a coffee shop, like a Starbucks, but for soda. Like you could go in and get any imaginable amount of different like flavor syrups, mix-ins, like real fruit, all kinds of stuff. I'm curious is this where you folks are all over, you know, the country or the world? Do you have soda shacks? It's kind of like a modern take on like the old school soda fountain that, you know, American diners used to have. She said, yes, awesome. I love this, awesome. Which, by the way, we'll talk about Intech at the end of the stream. But I'm very excited for it. But for people that aren't here till the end of the stream, Intech is short for the Intentional and Retro Tech Gathering, where we're going to talk. We're going to have other content creators. You know, Jose Briones is coming. Ole from Germany said he's going to try and make it over. We've got the people from Sleek are going to come. Dumb Wireless is going to come, and then a number of maybes and a number of people I haven't talked to yet. So it's gonna be a good time. Salt Lake City, August 15th. But yes, and if you are interested in coming, or even if you think it's a possibility, please go and RSVP at the link I'll put in the description after the fact, just because that really helps kind of promote it for local people when they see it on Eventbrite. Cool, guys, this is fun. Okay, So dumb phones. Okay, so I don't usually do a lot of dumb phone coverage just because for me personally, dumb phones are a little bit too restrictive for, I guess, just my station in life currently. However, I do know that a number of you who subscribe or watch my videos are interested in them. And so I have some stuff that I thought we could kind of go over a little bit here. There is a phone called Mind Phone. Let me see if I can green touch Mind Phone. Shout out to Jose. He, I know, has done some coverage on this. And let's see, do we have... This doesn't even show you... Okay, this is just this kosher cell website.
Someone might come from Tennessee.
Someone might come from Tennessee. What's going on in Tennessee?
No. Come to the event.
What? Where? Oh, Tyler! Oh, that would be so cool. And it would be a good road trip too. I'm sure you would see some really cool stuff. Do we have it here, guys? Maybe it's been delisted. Because I went to the website and they have. Okay, so here's the screen protector. Maybe this will at least give an idea of. Yeah, so you can see here, this device is the Mind Phone V1. And I do have, I've tried to, let's see if I can get it to turn on. It was being strange. You guys probably can't even hear me. It was being strange the other day, but it appears that it is booting up here. To give you a size comparison, sure, why not? Let's do the Eco. Go back over here. You can kind of see. Yep, there you go. Nintendo 64 cartridge for reference. So it's a T9. It is a kosher device, which I don't know exactly if there's like a technical definition of a kosher, but it basically means calling and texting and a couple of other apps only. Oh, look, it powered up this time. Nice. So T9, AOSP, very limited in its functionality, but some people are looking for something like that. And so I figured I could try and start covering them a little bit on the channel. So I believe he's the CEO of Mind, reached out to me, and they have a second generation coming out soon. They're calling it the Mind Phone 2 Pro. Yes. And
Like a chocolate bar.
let's see, do I have... He sent me a prototype of it. And it is quite a bit smaller. Here, sorry guys, I'm not good at the OBS. It is quite a bit smaller than the original with a T9 keypad. So I thought, for those of you that are like, Jake, why don't you cover dumb phones? If I'm being perfectly frank, the reason I don't cover them is because I don't use them. However, I know a lot of you probably do and are interested in them. For dumb phone coverage, I would just refer you over to Jose's channel. He does really, really great coverage on dumb phones, but there are a couple of them that I have thought are kind of interesting, and so I might cover them a little bit. So, but yes, if this is something that you're interested in, go over. This is mindphone.co, and you can make a reservation. I think he said, oh shoot, I can't remember when he said these are going to start shipping. Sometime, I think this year. Sometime maybe in the summer. I'm sure. Don't quote me on that. Okay, let's see some comments. Wait, I didn't realize it was that far out. That far. Yeah. So Salt Lake City, August 15th, in Tech, the Intentional and Retro Tech Gathering. Those buttons on the Pro 2 look sleek. They do. How do they?
Have a good click to them too.
Yes. Yeah. So on the Mind Phone 1, I mean, pretty pleasant. See if you guys get some ASMR.
I hate ASMR.
Oh yeah, these ones are much more. These have a much more definite click. That's a good point.
But they are also, I mean, it's a whole different shape. They're like raised up.
Mm-hmm. So on the Mind Phone 1, the buttons are essentially flat. Yeah, here, we'll go back over here. The buttons are essentially flat, like you could run your finger across. Whereas on the Mind Phone 2 Pro, they have raised centers slightly. So I think because they are also, my goodness, surface area wise, they're like almost half the size. Like it's quite a bit smaller. But I think that you'd be able to have a better typing experience because you have those raised buttons. Okay, so let's see. But yes, nice. I plan to put my entire music library on my Clicks communicator. Yes, I have uploaded all my CDs as WMA lossless files. WMA! You don't hear about WMA format much anymore. That is cool. I hope it will play them. Otherwise, I'll have to convert them all. I mean, it's running Android, and I'm pretty sure Android can play most, if not all, audio file types. So I would be really surprised if it doesn't. But a lossless WMA, like how big? I'm just curious what you want. How big does that, like a standard length, song, couple minutes long? How big of a file does that make? I'm not as familiar with WMA lossless. I used to, way back in the day of those Sony players there. Sometimes I would do MP3, sometimes I would do WMA. So I'm curious, yes, how big does one of those get to be? Okay, so moving on. I think we're caught up on the questions. Good.
Has anyone ever seen Troll 2?
Oh, there you go. Some trivia. Troll 2, Mrs. Retro's favorite movie ever. Kind of an inside joke. But it is a cult classic. For those of you that don't know, Troll 2, one of the worst movies ever made. And I don't mean it necessarily from story, though the story is a bit goofy. I mean the way it was made was bad. They had where was he from? Italy?
I think so.
Spain? They had I think it was an Italian director that flew out a crew that filmed in this tiny little Utah town about an hour and a half, 2 hours from here. And they were like,
don't give it away. Just go watch it.
Go watch Troll 2. We'll talk about it in a future stream when I can get Mrs. Retro to come back. But yes, okay, so moving on to more dumb phone stuff. Keyphone. Okay, so Keyphone is this little guy right here.
Okay, that's probably phone number 14 on the desk.
You didn't even see that one. Yep. Yeah, this one was hiding under my Game Boy bag. The bad movies are always the best. Yes, Tyler. I think you might. If you haven't seen Troll 2, I think you could potentially become a fan.
Yes, that is correct. There was no Troll 1 that it is in reference.
Oh, Vic. Is that the one that has the 2 and then yes. And I could say something else about that.
And it has no trolls in it.
Oh, you just said it. Okay, there you go. Yeah, and the movie doesn't even have any trolls in it. There are no trolls in Troll 2. Yes. Oh, this is great. So, okay, so Keyphone. This is another dumb phone that is, oh, hey, Spencer. Yeah. You might recognize the hi-hat. So this is Punkt. They gave us some swag at the press event that Spencer being there with me, attended at CES. Hi is a play on AI. So instead of artificial intelligence, it's human intelligence, meaning people are better. So for those of you, and I will be covering the MC03. Well, we're talking about dumb phones right now. So privacy-based phone, very, very cool. But yeah, I'll talk more about that in the future. But yes, so the Keyphone. So this is a QWERTY dumb phone that is running. It's basically one of those software-induced dumb phone setups where it's running a very, very stripped down and also sort of restricted AOSP version. I'm not sure if they have a name for it specifically, but this is one where basically calls, texts, it's got a notepad, calendar, calculator, clock, am I missing anything? Flashlight, pretty decent camera, but yeah, it's very, very restrictive. But it's a cool little device. It's got a lot of features. It's got a headphone jack. It's got 3 programmable buttons. It's got a removable battery, and I'm not talking like a user replaceable, but like it's got like a swappable battery. Let's Let's see what else. It hasn't. I noticed when I was charging it today, it does have a notification LED. You can't use it for that right now. I think it's only a charging indicator, but in the future, since the hardware has it, it could be easily changed to do that. Something kind of cool. So I was part of. They gave me one of their beta phones. So they did similar to some companies doing nowadays. They'll send out some beta devices to some testers like all over the area that they're planning to sell the devices, and basically they just let us test them for a few months and submit bug reports, feedback, recommendations. It was kind of cool. I got an email the other day that they, I guess as a token of gratitude to everyone that did the beta program, they're letting us swap those for mass production units. So I did that. I actually reached out to the CEO because it'd been a while since I had talked to him, and he said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we'll go ahead and include the T9 keypad as well," which I don't have any experience with. The big, I mean, I don't know, guys. I have big, meaty, farmer's fingers here, and I get used to the QWERTY module, which for those that aren't familiar, the keypad on this is swappable. It's not maybe what you would call hot swappable, like on Sidephone, where you can just take it out and pop in the other one with the device being on and everything. This one, you have to remove the back cover. I think you have to take the battery out. Maybe you don't have to take the battery out. You do have access to the 4 screws without taking the battery out, but you do have to remove the screws in order to change the keypad. So I don't have any experience yet with the T9 version, but I anticipate that will probably be the most popular one for this, just because on a phone of this size, a full QWERTY keyboard that is, I mean, they're tiny little buttons.
I like them though. They're like bubbly, right?
Yeah, no, I think they're fine. They're just very small.
Well, let's do a thumb size.
We don't need to do that. This is okay. What have we got here? Canucks 442011. Do you think the communicator will have native key shortcuts to apps and long press for alternative keyword characters like we see on the typing this next to my wife eating popcorn? You must have the extra butter flavor. Oh, look at this. Look at this, guys. We're having just a nice
Not only
fun.
is it extra butter, I put like one of those little shakers of nacho cheese powder on top of it.
She keeps me young, guys. See, I lost my train of thought. So I will say this, Canucks. At launch, and probably a good little while into the communicator's lifespan, they are planning on Gboard. So Gboard is going to be the IME that they go with. I know that they have there's been a ton of user feedback, specifically from the Zinwa fans, requesting a customized, like a clicks made IME for the device. But all I know is for now, they're focusing only on making Gboard the best typing experience, and so the functionality I think is just gonna mirror using Gboard with a physical keyboard, which with Keymapper you can program stuff to do. I mean, almost whatever you want. So, for example, on mine here, let me just move my notification from Tyler so I don't share that with the world. Okay, let's see. Oh, he did. So here you can see there is the meta key. I'm not sure if I can get it to focus on that. It's the key with the search magnifying glass. Anyway, I have programmed meta plus B to open my browser, and then I've programmed meta plus T to open Telegram, since that's my primary messaging app that I use. And so if Clicks themselves doesn't have first-party support for some of that keyboard stuff, I know that Keymapper works great, and I do know that they are planning on there being some functionality, swappability via the Clicks app itself. I just don't know how extensive that's going to be and how much time and resources they're going to be able to dedicate to that. So, okay, I think that answered all your questions. Pretty big, lol. I had originally uploaded my library as MP3s on my Zune, and it was about 30-ish gigabytes. Wow, 30 gigs of just music. That is cool. And now as WMA, it's around 80. Yeah, okay. I was wondering about that, but yeah, that's cool. Zune. I had one friend in, was it middle school or high
I
school?
always wanted the pink or the green one. Those were really cool.
But you never had a Zune?
No, because Santa brought us iPod videos, like classic. Is that what it was called?
Kris Kringle.
I know.
Yeah, that was all so far away from what my house's Santa Claus could afford. So I just ended up saving up, and I
Jake,
got a.
Do you always say lol when you say C and LOL?
No, only when I'm being weird.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I usually LOL. Thanks for pointing that out. So where were we? Oh yes, a Zune. I had a friend in it was either middle school or high school. I can't remember whenever they came out, but he was the only one that I knew that had a Zune, and I was so jealous. Like I had to use my wimpy little first gen iPod Nano, which I wish I still had. And he had the Zune. The Zune was cool. Okay, so let's see. Oh, and last but not least, in my dumb phones section, I don't know how many parents we have on the stream, but recently I became aware of Karri. So Karri is a really cool company.
Is that how they say it, Karri?
Yeah, yep, they pronounce it Karri. So it is a company based out of the UK and Germany, who the owner basically couldn't find the solution he was looking for his family, and so he undertook the massive challenge to just make it himself. So this is the Gen 2. This is the point where, you know, I found out about the company, but I can show you, let's see, Gen Messenger 1. So these ones are a little goofy looking, I will admit, but I think the functionality is really, really similar. But just so that you know, if you go Googling this, know that this is the Gen 1 and this is the Gen 2. So how it works is it has a SIM card, but it does not have a phone number. And it sends basically walkie-talkie style messages, basically voice notes is what it is, between the messenger and whoever that device is linked to a chat with. So like that person would have it on their phone. So for example, we would have the Karri app on our smartphone, and we could then send voice notes to and from our kids on their Karris, on their Karri messengers.
But they can't send messages to someone else.
No, you cannot. Yeah, no.
Whoever's linked on the app.
Correct. Yep. You have control over. You can, if you wanted to, connect them to another Karri. So if you wanted your kids to be able to message each other or message cousins or whatever, you can do that. But unlike a phone, there's no phone number, and you can't have creepers creeping. So anyway, this is something that I thought, I haven't covered a lot of kids tech on the channel yet, though I fully intend to, primarily just because I like to cover stuff that I can at least get a little bit of firsthand experience with myself, and our kids aren't to the age yet where, they're certainly not to the age yet of even getting a dumb phone, let alone a smartphone.
No, they ask.
Though they do ask, yes, they do ask. But this, I think, is a really good entry to where you can help them, have the ability to have some of that independence of, being off at an activity with friends or something like that, but you would still have the ability to be in touch in case they needed to get in touch with you or you with them. Which I still, even as I talk about this, I think about what it was like as a kid myself, and it was...
Your mom just hopes you don't die.
Yeah. Like, yeah, if you need something, find a phone, but don't bother anyone. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, something, I haven't done a ton of, in fact, this may be the first kids tech thing that I've talked about on the channel yet. Is it still using cell service or mesh? It is cell service. So it does have, I don't know if it's a physical SIM or an eSIM. I don't recall. But yes, so it does, and they've got agreements. I actually asked him about it. His name's Pete, super cool guy. I asked him, so how does it work? Like, do you partner with a carrier? And they've got one of these agreements where they have contracts in place in most in the countries that they're going to be rolling out to, which North America, so US and Canada, maybe Mexico too. I'm not sure on that one. Will be rolling out later this year. I think summer-ish. But they will piggyback off of the service of whatever the local carriers are. So it does have a SIM card. I just can't remember if it's a physical SIM or an eSIM off the top of my head. Great question. Spencer Lee! Okay. What? Oh, and I will say this is Mudita. This I think is probably what is the one to beat in terms of what our kids' first phone will probably be. And this, of course, is the Mudita Compact. I've played around with this a little bit. In fact, Spencer, who we talked about at the beginning of the stream, he and his wife have been working on a review video. Oh, if you saw the unboxing video I posted a couple of days ago, that was them working on that.
That freaked me out.
Yeah.
I was like, Jake's hands,
Yeah.
they look so feminine.
She didn't know that Spencer's wife was the one working on all of that, and so she saw that there was the returning retro shirt with this dainty, well manicured
fingers.
yes. And what's going on? Well, yeah, gotcha. But no, this I like the compact for a number of reasons. It's got more. I mean, it's a phone, so it's got a phone number. You can send text messages, but in terms of anything beyond that, you have to use a computer. It doesn't have an app store, and you would need to use a computer to put any other apps on it. So that option is there if you want it, but it's not like, you could hand it to your friend at school who knows about airdropping, or not airdropping, but whatever Android's version is of airdrop, an APK onto your phone and putting on an app and you logging in during the day and then uninstalling it like all the kids would do. This can't do that. You have to have a computer. So anyway, this was if you guys were wondering, this is kind of what is in my mind the one to beat, but we are still a ways off from that. So a little sip of water here. Let's see. Okay. Thanks for the info. Nacho cheese powder. That explains the yellow glow. There you go. Yeah. Also the terrible lighting in here at night. The less kids.
I think he's talking about the popcorn.
Well, I'm talking about my forehead.
I have
The less
yet to apply nacho cheese powder to Jake's forehead. We can try.
I guess it's more of a burnt orange. Anyway,
Maybe with neutralizer.
the less kids with smartphones, the better, in my opinion. In my opinion, too, Eric, my friend. Yes. Yes, I could go into some of the philosophy of returning retro, but we did that last week, so I'll save you all from rehashing that whole thing again. But yes, I think that the fewer people that are perpetually online, kids especially, but adults too, the better the world will be. So, okay, Karri, we're good. Let's have a brief intermission. Everyone go potty break. I'm just kidding. We're going to shift gears a bit, and we're going to go into some retro gaming. So, I would like to make the claim that retro / low poly gaming is what the world needs. I want to refer you guys to a video that I watched a little while ago called Are Low Poly Games Better by the channel Patch Notes. So this was one of the most profound videos that I have seen because it basically filled in a lot of the blanks of things that I was observing, but I just couldn't really put words to in terms of what it is about what I call 8 through 64-bit gaming. I think he calls it low poly, low polygon. Basically, your 2D and then some of your earliest 3D graphic games. They just make them a objectively different experience, and in my opinion, better than the big, new, hi-fi, high-res, everything in your face, gorgeous, like modern games are gorgeous, but they just give you such a different experience that it makes it, well, anyway, I took some notes from going through and watching it. So I experienced this recently, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this here in just a minute, but playing through some of these new production Game Boy games, I thought, okay, well, I played these before, so I definitely know I'm going to enjoy the games that I played as a kid. Let's see what I think of some of these new games that didn't exist back then. And every single one has been such a fun experience. And I'm not talking about necessarily like a de-stressor, though it does that. I'm not necessarily talking about an escape, though it provides that. it is an objectively fun experience. You can immerse yourself in a way that I just haven't really been able to experience with any of the modern games of probably the last 10 plus years. And please go and watch this. I'll put a link to it in the description after the fact. But Patch Notes goes into the science behind it, and there's a couple of things. I made some notes here where he talks about the two big things are Gestalt psychology and predictive processing. And basically what this does is they're psychological terms that in low poly games, when you go through the experience, you have a lower mental load than you do with these new high res where, flashing, and you can see the granular details. You can see the drop of dew on the rabbit's nose across the glen in, modded Skyrim or whatever. It takes a lot of mental load to process all of those details. In low poly games, you didn't have that. And so you were able to co-create the experience as you were playing. So your brain fills in the gaps that are there because of what isn't being displayed on the screen. As a result of that, you can really focus in on what is being displayed, and your brain can fill in the gaps and make up the rest. So that co-creation side of it, I think, is really, really cool, and I can totally agree with that. The cognitive load, we talked about that a little bit. The simplicity of the low poly games just really reduces the mental strain. And then the constraints, my friends. He talks about this a lot, and I don't know, Patch Notes, he applies to, the likes of like Silent Hill, Halo, some of those games, which maybe for him are more of those vintage games, whereas for me, those are even a little bit newer than what I would call these low poly ones. But the principle is the same. The developers had such intense constraints in which they had to create these games that they had to get really creative about how they were able to pull off certain effects, certain lighting effects, certain environmental effects, certain settings and certain moods to set. And because they had to work within these constraints, the creativity, it just made for a totally different experience compared to today, when these gaming studios have unlimited amounts of money and they don't really have to try compared to the way games used to be developed. That transfers into the gameplay experience. Why am I talking about gaming in terms of intentional tech? Well, this is exactly the type of thing that I like. Low poly gaming, vintage gaming, retro gaming, it's bringing back, returning to something that we moved on from that I think was in a lot of ways better. Maybe not necessarily objectively, like we talked about the beauty of modern games, or the raw horsepower of modern hardware, but in terms of the overall experience, as far as the overall human experience, we could even call it. This is why I like retro, vintage, and low poly gaming, because it taps into that, which I think is better. Are you taking notes? You falling asleep? Let's see. Okay. Okay, so speaking of which, I wanted to show you guys a couple of ones that I have done some playthroughs on recently. Let's see. I need to mute this. Okay, so the first one, and this was one of the games. This was one of the first games that I had done a playthrough on in a long time. It's called Wicked Plague.
You spelled it wrong.
Put the C in the wicked. So, and the cool thing about a lot of these is you can get them. I can't remember. Shoot, what's the name of if any of you guys know, there's a game. Bouchard Industry. Hello. Oh, Eric is here. Thank you so much for joining, my friends. Go look up the Bouchard. Okay, here. Nope. Pause. We're gonna. Okay. Here we go. Guys. My monitor just crapped out. Hold on. There we go. Okay, we're back. This is another project I am super excited to be following, the basic phone. So, it is what do you want to call it? Like BlackBerry Key 2 meets a minimal phone. It's got the e-paper. I don't know if it's going to be e-ink or not. It's got the full QWERTY keypad, which, by the way, the new Kickstarter page looks beautiful. Like, I haven't seen it since it's been updated, but it's running not iOS, obviously, and also not AOSP, but Linux. It's
I like the font choices.
yes, the graphic designer in my wife, she pays attention to these kinds of things. I just look at the coolness. So you win on both sides.
If you ever see a weird thumbnail, it's because he made it himself.
Yes, so most of them. Yes, this looks really, guys. I haven't even seen this since this has been updated. But yes, so go, follow it. He's started a Discord server for those of you that are on Discord. Yes, this is a project that I am anxiously following. And fingers crossed, he did say he was going to try to make it to the Intech gathering in August. But anyway, yes, welcome to the stream, my friend. Okay, do we have to go back? Okay, so Wicked Plague, Metroidvania style game. Let's see, this is the review, this is the trailer. I'm gonna have the audio turned off, but just so you guys can kind of see, it's very, you can see this has Castlevania written all over it. Now, at first when I was looking at this, I was like, okay, that is some very low poly 8-bit. But when you play it, the gameplay mechanics take a little while to get used to. It took, like, some of these boss battles that you can see here, I spent hours on. But I found that they struck a really good balance between difficulty and challenge. So still a challenge, but not too difficult for, working full time, kids activities, running a YouTube channel. Like, I could still get into it and play it and have a fun time. And again, this was something that this did not exist. This did not exist back in the day. And so playing through it and enjoying it shows me there's more to it than nostalgia. I think it goes back to, like I mentioned, that patch notes video, which I really encourage you guys to go and check out. So moving on, the next one.
Question, by the way.
Oh, we have a question. See, thank you for helping me here, my darling. I'm going to pull this one up so we can go. Okay. Do you have any updates, if you can talk about it, on the prototype of the communicator? Yes and no. The update, I talked to Kevin, was it 3 or 4 days ago? And everything is proceeding as normal, as scheduled. They haven't hit any delays that I know of, or that he communicated to me. And he did say, the sneaky bugger, he said that there was something that has happened that was unexpected and a surprise in a good way. And that's all he said. He didn't tell me if it was about communicator. He didn't tell me if it was about power keyboard. He didn't tell me if it was about any of it, but he mentioned it in the conversation when I was asking him about it. So yeah. So everything seems to be moving right along. I think that they are planning on the prototype to, I don't know if they'll have one next month at Mobile World Congress. It might be towards the end of March or April. I'm not exactly sure on the timeline, just because I haven't committed it to memory. But yeah, no delays have been encountered so far. Let's see, Vic, what are we talking? I'm just kind of bored of hyper-realistic graphics being a selling point at this point, to be honest. It gives me the subconscious vibe that they're overcompensating for lackluster gameplay. My goodness, my friend, you should start a Substack and write about, like, that was so well put, and I couldn't agree more. This is something, I saw another video and I forgot to, I'll have to go back into my YouTube history and pull it up, but the video talked about that, how games in especially the 80s and 90s, but the late 90s and the early 2000s, they trusted the player. They didn't hold your hand through the whole way. Like, I haven't played a lot of modern racing games, but the footage that was included in this video, it showed like direction arrows showing you exactly where to drive the entire time. And I'm like, what? That defeats the purpose of... Anyway, and it's like that across the board. I mean, even, your action RPGs, shooters, there's a lot of hand-holding going on, and I don't know, games are just different now. And this is another reason why, to your point, they're overcompensating for lackluster gameplay. I think part of that hand-holding is also to compensate for the lackluster gameplay. I wonder if maybe, I don't know, the mainstream studios are just suffering a lack of creativity in their their work for. I'm not sure, and this is one reason why I really like these indie and homebrew developers, because there is certainly no lack of creativity there, and they've made for some really good experiences. So, okay. Canucks, one more question, then we'll jump back over to Chantey. If the currently unknown specs end up similar to each other, processor, RAM, etc., and you could only pick one, do you get the communicator or the Titan 2 Elite? The communicator, and for a few different reasons. So the size of the Titan 2 Elite, I think, is fine, but it is a bit small for what I would want out of my communicator. Now, again, this is assuming that it does have like a headphone jack and a micro SD card slot and a notification light that they haven't announced yet, which we don't know that. But going, the unknown specs end up being similar to each other. The other thing I would say is there are a number of things that are known about the communicator that are unknown and unlikely on the Titan 2 Elite. One of those being, I like the fact that they have said that they are very open to bootloader unlocking, working with people to develop custom ROMs. Like, these are all things that they have been very open about wanting to help the community with. By comparison, Unihertz has been very against that in the past with their other Titan devices. Unihertz has said, there's going to be a lot of updates. They're gonna do things differently going forward with the Titan. Awesome if it happens. I am skeptical. We'll see. But I have every reason to believe with the people working on communicator that is actually what is going to happen. But if you take all of that out, if you just on the merits of the devices themselves, the communicator just is a more appealing device for me. I like the size of it more. I like the keyboard, the layout. I like that the buttons are a little bit spread apart, and I like the sort of the polygon shape, and I like the fact that they're the interchangeable. But I don't know. There's just a lot to like about communicator, and that's not to say that I anticipate the Titan 2 Elite being a bad device. But in your hypothetical here, if I could only have one, those are kind of the reasons I would go communicator over the Titan 2 Elite. Good question, though.
There's another question.
Where?
Oh, wait, never mind.
Look over here. Nope. Okay. Cool. So going back to Chantey. So this. Okay. Gotta let the dogs out to go potty. So I don't even know how to describe Chantey to do it any kind of justice. It is a pirate RPG with like rhythm-based combat that takes place. See here, you can see kind of the rhythm-based combat that takes place in the real. I think it was called the Spanish Strait. Back in when is it set? The 1700s, I think it is. But anyway, so many cool elements. You've got the overworld where you captain the ship. You can stop off at all these different ports where there's all these different mini games, and the story is it's really engaging. You get sucked in to this world in a way, kind of going back to what we were talking about with Patch Notes video, where you really can immerse yourself. And there's there's puzzles, there's stealth in some places, there's like memory, like you have to remember certain sequences, so like it encourages you to like get out a pen and paper and write stuff down. So yeah, I don't know. I really and I've talked to the developer, Casey, and it's, super cool. The team behind this, which it might just be him now that I think about it. But anyway, Gboard Co does a great job on this one, and I'm really excited to see what comes of it. And there you go. You can kind of see there's a map where you can see the different areas. You've got all these different ports, and again, like there are real like secrets in the game that if you pull out a map of the area at the time and you're like, ooh, that was where there was supposed to be a pirate place, let me go find that in the game. A lot of times you would find secrets. It's just such a cool game. The last 60 minutes of gameplay on this, you guys, like there were 5 or 6 different times that like my hairs would stand up. Like the story, there's like a crescendo of the story that just, you think it's there, and then it just like tops it, and then it tops it, and then yeah, I don't know. I'm getting all excited. I'm gonna have to do another playthrough. It's just so good. This is not only one of my favorite new production homebrew games. I would easily put this in the top 10, maybe even the top 5 of my all-time favorite Game Boy games across, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. Like this, it is just he hit the ball right out of the park. And then currently, I am about 30 or 40% through my playthrough of. Oh, there we got a dog being carried around in the background. Buck. So Buck is a platformer shooter. So you play as Buck. The is he the official GameStop mascot? Maybe the unofficial. But anyway, it's this game is basically just a giant love letter to these 8-bit games. So you've got all of these different, I would call them like gameplay Easter eggs, where it's maybe not necessarily a direct Easter egg, though sometimes there are references where you're like, okay, they're referring to this character there or that character there. But just the way the game works and the levels and everything.
It's like Yoda stories.
Yeah, Yoda stories for those that have played it. I've never played it, but it was one of Mrs. Retro's favorite growing up. But yeah, this is really fun. Like I said, I haven't finished it yet, but it's a very, very popular one in the homebrew 8-bit, new production 8-bit circles, and I'm having a good time with it. Like I said, I'm about 30 or 40% of the way through, and there's a lot of charm. I guess you could say it's a fun game, but it's also really charming, especially if you grew up playing all of these old school 8-bit games. So that reminds me, let's talk about where you guys can find some of these. Oh, here, let's see what we've got. Some questions coming in here. Question time. Does the Chromatic by chance hold GBA cartridges? If not, is there any current hardware that does, besides having to buy a used Game Boy? Man, Eric, what a great transition to... I wanted to give a shout out to gamergirlgameboymods. So this is Katie. Katie is awesome. Katie has a channel where she talks all about these Game Boy mods that she does. And I just couldn't resist, my friends. So I ordered one. So this is going to be my Game Boy Advance mod, resto mod. So I didn't send one in. In fact, I wanted to keep an original one just for the sake of having it, which, by the way, you guys, Mrs. Retro here noticed this right away. She's like, wait a minute, that wasn't a real color that they did them in. No, but it's because it used to be purple. So I don't know if this just got left out in a car and it like partially melted, or I don't know, but the outside of it is a weird color, and it used to be that really iconic Nintendo purple. Anyway, so this is going back to your question. This is one way that you can get them. You can find, and there are a number of these, and I'll link to all of this. Her Instagram, and then she has an Etsy shop and her own website as well. Which
she added a light to the screen.
So yeah, so it's a backlit screen, so that's different than the original one. So it's got like a backlit LCD screen, and then yeah, I opted for the transparent case just because I love those. I think they called them Funtastic back when you could get your Nintendo 64 see-through. You could get your, Mac computer see-through. Like everything was see-through back in the early 2000s.
I had the pink one.
The pink
see-through.
Oh, that's right. The Game Boy Advance. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, I didn't even know they made one of those. But yeah, I had her put in the LEDs, under the bump, the L and R buttons, and so anyway, and yeah, I didn't even realize this when I placed the order, but the buttons, I guess you can change the colors if you want to make it so it fits exactly what you're looking for. But yeah, here you can see kind of a close up. And I'm really excited because I did a post about this. I think I did over at Misfits the other day, the local game shop, not a GameStop, that opened the other day. I picked up Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, which I've heard is just a fantastic Castlevania game. And I haven't started it yet because I'm spoiled, guys, between, playing on my Chromatic, the Game Boy games, going back to a non-backlit, non-LCD. I don't know. It's tough. I could probably do it, but I'm excited for this to show up and I can get cracking. So, but yeah, Katie's great. She, super communicative. Prices, I think, are good compared to the different ones out there that can do it. But yes, I will be sure and include links to where you can find her in the description. So let's go back to Game Boy. Okay, right there. Communicator or Sidephone. Oh, Kumiho. Why you gotta do that? Oh man. See, that's hard because I have two phones. I have a personal line and I have a work line. And so that's a hard question to answer given my current reality. But let's say, to add a hypothetical onto your hypothetical, if I could only do one line, like if I had to get rid of my work line or something like that, I would probably opt for communicator just because it's a more capable device as a work phone. But if I found, something changed and I didn't need a work device anymore, I would probably lean more towards Sidephone. But again, these are all hypotheticals because in the real world, I would get both of them and just move my SIM back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's not like I do that though, right? I just use one phone the whole time. I don't use a lot of different phones.
Jake, you use upwards of 15 phones a week.
Yeah, it's not an exaggeration. So yeah, Kumiho, that's a really hard question to answer. And the other thing is they're so different. They're totally different devices. The communicator, way higher spec, way more hardware features. Whereas, Sidephone is designed with a different use case in mind. It's more of a disconnect device as opposed to communicator being basically a communication powerhouse. So yeah, I don't know. So I guess that's kind of a non-answer, but maybe gives you some things to think about. Canucks, good points. I also question the Unihertz update promise. I'm leaning communicator also. This was great. Thanks for doing this. Got to get some sleep. Good night, Canucks. Thanks for coming in. I am going to try and do weekly streams. I just really enjoy it, especially when my better half can join me. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys are having fun. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to do either Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. This next week, if we can make it work, we're gonna do a Sunday afternoon, and Ole from Germany, we're gonna co-host a live, which I think YouTube now can do. So fingers crossed. No promises on that. We might not be able to make it all happen in time, but yes, just that. So I'm going to be trying to do weekly
It'll be in
live
German.
streams. Yes. Ole and I only speak in German. No, we speak in English. Okay. Okay. Yes. Bouchard. Okay, Eric. Yeah. Thank you for the shout out. Hope you're doing great. Love the mix of phone and game subject. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I've wondered about that. Like, are people going to be like, whoa, I thought this was the BlackBerry guy. What's he talking about? Kids communicators and retro gaming and stuff. In my mind, it's all intentional tech. And so I like to cover it together. So hopefully it can be useful for the community and for all the retroverts that tune in as well. Emoji Matt back again, $5. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Why couldn't the restaurant owners open a new data center? They didn't have enough servers. Oh, the jokes. I love this. My friend, I appreciate the super chats. You don't need to do them to tell jokes. I love the jokes. I'm very appreciative of the super chats because I can throw it back into the community, but I like that one. Matt comes in and tells jokes in the stream. So yes, Matt, Mrs. Retro, Matt. What's your take on the rivalry between Unihertz and Clicks? How do you think it started? And is this competition actually good for consumers, good for awareness, or is it just messy? So I theorize that the rivalry is very one-sided. I don't think Clicks is really concerned with nor particularly keeping tabs on what Unihertz is up to. They have different priorities, different things. I think that a lot of it started with Unihertz sort of, I don't know, coming out with some very interesting marketing around when they decided to announce the Titan 2 Elite a couple of days or maybe a week or so after Communicator. And I think the reason that they were, as the kids say or used to say, salty about it in their messaging that they did, was because they had a very unique chance to go to CES, and they declined that. And I mean it when I say unique. And I think that they perhaps were not thrilled about the missed opportunity and have decided to do what they have done, as any of us that are following have seen. So, yes, I think that the rivalry, quote unquote, is one-sided. I think it was Unihertz who kind of started it, if that makes sense. Obviously, fans in the fan, the different fan communities, or I guess I should say the fan community, because a lot of us, keyboard lovers, we like all of them. But some of them I kind of started picking sides, and I don't know, but that's my take so far. I really don't think Clicks is paying attention to what Unihertz is doing. They've got bigger things that they're focusing on that is requiring their attention, and I speculate that Unihertz is probably a little upset at what was undoubtedly a missed opportunity, in my opinion. Wait, you are a person with several needs for intentional tech? Yeah, imagine that, Tyler. Imagine that. A world when we not only didn't use but didn't have the option to have one device do everything. Yes. I very much. I'm kind of a, and this is another topic that comes up sometimes. The minimalism by centralization. And so mostly like hardware minimalism, where you just have like one device, or minimalism via decentralization. So instead of having one device that can do everything and thereby become super distracting, diversify, decentralize into multiple different devices to fulfill the different functions that you might need. That's a little bit more the way that I lean. But even then, I am not a digital minimalist. That to me is a little bit too narrow for again, like I mentioned earlier, I think in this stream, for my current point in life. But neither am I interested in the mainstream tech. It's too distracting. It's too big. I can't get on board with the planned obsolescence. I can't get on board with, we used to have to worry about our data being sold for advertising, which we still do. Now we have to worry about our data being used for data mining and training all of it. So I'm not interested in any of that. So if I can find something that helps me be less distracted while also being a little bit more secure, so that's why this intentional tech is more where I reside, as opposed to maybe the narrower digital minimalism, or obviously the broad mainstream. Yeah.
She wants to be held.
Yeah, she's weird. Dogs are nice. Okay. Oh, Matt's back. I made a joke that our devices were listening to us. I laughed. My wife laughed. Alexa laughed. Siri laughed. Yes, this one is. I've seen a variation of that. What was it? But it was like a comic. It was someone tells a joke, and it's like the wife laughs, the husband laughs, and then the FBI agents laugh who are listening in via all their devices. So anyway, yes. And Matt, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super chats. This is really, really too kind. But I will say it goes to good. I'll either be using it for hardware upgrades, or now I'm saving for Intech, for the intentional and retro tech gathering happening in August on the 15th, which is a Saturday, in Salt Lake. I have no idea how we're going to pull this off, but I think it's something that is going to be a really good time. So yeah, if any of you are interested, if there's even a chance you might be able to make it, the ticket, it's $0 tickets. The tickets are free, but it really does help with the planning, as well as boosting it so that it will appear in the local event scene. What you want? Are you interested in any of the new 3DS handhelds? I am not. don't really know what else to say. I never used the 3DS as a handheld. I know these newer ones are way more capable than what the Nintendo 3DS was, but it's just not something that is particularly appealing to me, as emulation handhelds as a category are cool, and I do have a couple of them. In fact, I've got right here, I brought for something that I'll show a little bit later in the stream. This is my RG35XX Plus, I think this one is. So I do have a few of them, but I've dived so much more back into the actual cartridge-based gameplay, and I just enjoy it so much more than the ROMs. And so, yeah, I don't know those. And again, the fact that I never had a dual screen handheld growing up in the first place, there's not that side of me drawing me to it. Though now that I think about it, Mrs. Retro, you had a DS, didn't you?
Yeah, just the original silver one.
Yeah. So maybe more of a fit for her. I don't know. But yeah, so okay, emoji. Should I get a Game Boy Micro or a Gamely SP? And your dog is adorable. Oh, see, and that's the ugly one. The other one is she's
the one we don't even like.
Run off. Good question. I honestly have no experience with the Game Boy Micro. I believe, did that come out at the same time as the Game Boy Pocket? I think, because if I'm remembering correctly, was the Micro, I think it was like a black and white screen. I don't know, Matt, you might have to educate me on this a little bit more. The SP is great. I never owned an SP. I had a couple of different of the original Game Boy Advances, and I always wanted an SP just because you had the backlight, you had a rechargeable battery, you had a more compact form factor with the closable cover. And so it's probably going to be able to do more. I mean, it can play more games if the Micro is the one that I'm remembering, only being able to play Game Boy, maybe not even Game Boy Color games. So yeah, I would say if you have the opportunity for an SP, go for it. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure if the Micro is the one that I'm thinking about or not. So, okay, moving along. Guys, this time flies. See, I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, man, we're just getting warmed up, and it's already been way longer than I expected to even go. So I've talked a lot about new production Game Boy games, and obviously we've got Nintendo 64 ones coming as well, but let me show you a couple. Oh wait, the Game Boy Micro was after the SP, before the DS. Oh, interesting. Well, let's go over. I'm thinking of something else. Game Boy Micro. It's a 32-bit handheld released in 2005 in the Game Boy line. Interesting. Yeah, me neither. This is interesting. Let's pull up one of these little videos, see some footage here. I've got it muted, so hopefully it doesn't. Okay, friend. Okay, so what are these? Some Evercarts.
Whoa, it's tiny.
What in the world? Oh, is he talking about modding things?
Advance.
Whoa! Yes, it is. Look at that. Now, I'm wondering, by the looks of it, what games can it play? I mean, here's what if you're looking for something really small, maybe that, because it's tiny. Eric, good night, my friend. Have a good evening, or night, or morning, or whatever time zone you're in. Thanks for sticking around. But yeah, I would say, I don't know. My knee jerk is to go with the SP, but I'm just not familiar with the Micro at all. Like, this is literally the first time I've seen what it can even do. I mean, if it can play all the same types of cartridges as the SP, maybe it would be a good one. But yeah, I don't know. Good question. Okay, so let's go through where you can get new production Game Boy games. So Mod Retro is one of the options. Let's see if we go to games. So their website is pretty simple, but really, I think it has a lot of really cool navigation. So if you come to the games, you can sort based off of genre. You can go based off of single player or multiplayer. And then here's kind of cool. You can go to the re-released classic. So you can see the ones that existed previously, and they've got the re-release product or what's the word I'm looking for? Licenses, or you can go to the originals. And this will show you ones that did not exist back in the day. So, Wicked Plague is here, Chantey is here, Buck is here. Dragon Imp is sold out. I actually have started that one, and then right after Chantey, and since they're both kind of RPGs, I decided to just wait and go onto a platformer, and so I'm playing Buck now instead. But yeah, so you can see all of these ones here. So another one I wanted to show you guys is called Homebrew Factory. And if anyone else knows of any that I'm not going through here, please put them in the chat, because I'd love to know myself. Homebrew Factory makes, go to the USA shop, also new games. One that I was actually really curious about is this one right here, Repugnant Bounty. I mean, basically a Metroid 2 I don't know, spiritual successor, but yeah, I don't know, it just looks kind of fun. Looks like the environments are really cool. And the sound, I've got the sound paused, but it has a really cool soundtrack, and the sound effects are really cool too. But yeah, so Homebrew Factory is where you can get one, get some. Let's see, the other one is, Incubate. Let's see, Incube 8 is what it's called. So if we go to Incubate Games, so these guys also publish new production and new, never before existing until right now games. Infinity is one that I'm really interested in. I haven't ordered one yet, but a copy of it yet, but I want to. It looks like it'll be a grand old time. And of course, the other thing I forgot to mention here is all of these cartridges also work on the original hardware, depending on if the publisher made, put it onto a Game Boy cartridge or a Game Boy Color cartridge. But yeah, so it can do, you can play it on your Analog Pocket, your Mod Retro Chromatic, or you can play it on the original stuff as well, the original hardware as well. Let's see, guys, what is I think there were another couple ones. Anyway, just in case you were wondering, the case could be made, it's just, if you'd only known about one of these, it's like, they're just doing their own thing. It's not taking off. It's not growing. No, there are several publishers that are publishing games, and there are dozens, if not maybe even hundreds, of developers out there making games that they would then take to one of these publishers. And again, there are a number of them that don't go the physical cartridge route. They will just put their file available on now I'm forgetting the name of the website, but in any case, where you can get the file, I think some of them are free, some of them you have to pay for, and put them on something like this, the EverDrive, which is just a cartridge that you can load the game file onto, and then put it in your Game Boy, whatever the case may be. So, point being, this is not just a one company rogue doing its own thing. Like, there are a number of them. It's growing, and I love it. Okay, so let me go back to here. Okay, let's see. If I remember correctly, Micro does not support original Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. Ooh, yeah. So that for me would be, Matt, if that's the case. I mean, definitely research it, but if that's the case, that would be a deal breaker for me. I really like the ability on a Game Boy Advance to be able to play those original ones, just in case you needed to. Okay, so let's see here, guys. You guys have been great. Like I've kept you here longer than I anticipated, and I'm just having a grand old time. So thanks for sticking with me. We're getting close. We're getting close to the end of what I have prepared, though. So, and always questions, comments, please throw them in the chat. Yes. Okay. We talked about the Game Boy Advance that I have coming. Oh, by the way, that Gamer Girl's Katie's the Game Boy that she built for me is supposed to be on its way here any day. So I'm hoping that I should have it by this time next week, so I can show you guys a little bit, in my hands what it's like. So another one that I wanted to show you guys that is on its way. See if I can find it here. Okay, is the SupaBoy. Do any of you have any experience with one of these? So it's a company called Hyperkin, who I think maybe I was sort of peripherally aware of that they had made stuff. In fact, the SupaBoy specifically, I think I had seen maybe a picture of somewhere or a video somewhere, but it's really, really cool. Let's see if I can show you. Do they have? Let's see. I don't know if they have here. Oh yeah, I had to scroll down. Okay, so it's a handheld. You've got all of your controls, L and R. You'll notice there though, you've also got controller inputs. And does it show it here? Yeah, there you go. So you can plug it into your TV if you want to play via this on the TV. But check that out. It takes actual Super Nintendo cartridges. So this is not an emulation handheld. It plays the actual game cartridges from the Super Nintendo. I mean, how cool is that? So anyway, one of these is on its way. Again, hopefully by the end of next week. And this is something that I think I will end up doing a full review video on, because this is what Returning Retro is all about. Retro tech, new production stuff designed in the likeness of, or in order to be able to do or have compatibility with the old stuff. So I love this so much. Let's see. Oh, okay. We've got What You Want. Okay, in 97, my brother bought the PS1 with 4 games. Mortal Kombat 4, Crash Bandicoot 2, Medieval, and one that none of my friends knew about, Brave Fencer Musashi. Is there a game that you played that wasn't well known that you played a lot? Oh, dang. That is a good question. I'm going to have to think about that for a minute. There was one. Let me see if I can find it here really quickly. They actually made a Nintendo 64 version and a Game Boy version, and I think my brothers as well, but we played both of them. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, the box, that's too tiny. Come on, guys. Oh, looks like they did release on PlayStation. Okay, here, let me share. So, Armorines Project Swarm. I couldn't tell you if this was mainstream or not, but we just loved the idea of, I mean, I don't know if you'd call it a Starship Troopers ripoff per se, but you're basically, super soldiers fighting space bugs. So, and it was fun. It had some some first person, shooter horror. And then the Game Boy one was fine. I mean, I don't know what I would think of it today, but I was doing a little bit of playthrough on the Game Boy one, what I would think of the Nintendo 64 version today. I think I still have it though, so I'll definitely, once the M64 starts shipping, I'll definitely put it through its paces. But yeah, I don't know, it was just kind of a fun game for the 64, but yeah, and it looks like it was a cross-platform thing where they had it for the PlayStation. So that's one. I mean, a lot of the games that I played and loved, but they're all heard of. I loved Diddy Kong Racing, so that was a little bit, I mean, everyone knows it, but I think it often lives in a bit of the shadow of Mario Kart, but I actually preferred Diddy Kong Racing. Similarly, like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, loved them both, but I preferred Majora's Mask. Conker's Bad Fur Day. I mean, it's kind of got a cult following. I don't know how popular it was at the time, but that was one that my brothers and I really enjoyed playing the multiplayer with our neighbors. We would, and then we would always set up I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but back in the day when you had local split screen only, we would create the no screen peek devices, which in our house typically meant you would get some pieces of cardboard, like a cardboard box, and then you would have to, because our TV had like the round, because it was the old CRT, the resonance tube TV. you'd have to cut it a little bit, and then you have to, duct tape it so that, if it was just 2-player, one player would stand and the other one would sit, and so you couldn't screen peek and see each other's screen. And then it was really tricky if you had 4-player. I can remember doing this a lot with GoldenEye, and then next gen we did it with Medal of Honor. What was it? Medal of Honor Frontline. I think was what we did the most of the anti-screen peek device. But yeah, see, look at all these memories. I'm loving it. Oh, Matt, okay, I know you probably answered this, but are you going Clicks or Titan to Elite? I'm going both. I try to get my hands on as many of these as I can for testing, because I know that the retroverts are going to want to know what is going to be the best fit for them. And I think that the best way that I can give feedback to people is by getting my hands on them and be able to do my real world review videos. For those of you that have seen one of my review videos, it's not exactly like any of the other ones out there. I have a little bit of a different approach to them. Hopefully they're helpful. Hopefully you guys like them. But so yes, I am going to be getting both of them in for testing. And I like to support the companies when I can, with especially these smaller companies that are kind of sticking their neck out, like Sidephone, like Minimal, and then some of the bigger ones as well. But in terms of, so I'm not sure if your question there is if I could only have one, or which one I prefer. Obviously, neither of them have released yet, and so it's really hard to say. But I plan on getting both of them in so that I can give some good feedback for people that are wanting to make informed decisions. So what you want? We did that too. Yes, I actually I saw a couple of days ago someone had shared a video montage where they had taken a bunch of pictures that they had accumulated of all of the different versions of the anti-screen peek device. And so there were some that looked a lot like the ones my brothers and I used that was cardboard. One of them was pretty funny. I saw the player 2, they had duct taped just like a blanket, or maybe it was a towel or something, to the TV, and then they sat underneath it, and then the brother or the friend stood behind. So yeah, it's just this, I don't know. I remember these times so fondly, and GoldenEye, you guys, like, those of you that were there, you can remember, but GoldenEye was such a game changer. Like, there had never been anything like it before. And so my friends, we would go and we would rent it from the local video place, where I grew up, we weren't even big enough to have like a Blockbuster or a Hollywood Video. And so it was just a small little local store. And when they got N64 games, we would go, and that we would always hope that they had it there. GoldenEye, that is. So, Henry, we got, that was definitely a favorite, Squirrels versus Bears, right? GoldenEye was so fun too. Yes, yep, GoldenEye, Squirrels versus Bears, and they would reenact. So for those of you that don't know, Conker's Bad Fur Day is basically a giant parody, where the entire game is just made up of different levels that are obvious parodies of different, like, pop culture, like mostly film, but some other games and stuff as well. So there's like a Saving Private Ryan parody. There is like a Alien I don't think Predator's in it, but like an Alien parody in it and so just and I mean, definitely, very very grown up humor for something. And I didn't play it until I was a little bit older either, but it's definitely not one that I would have my kids. A lot of funny humor, but pretty crude. Definitely earned its M rating from the board. So kind of surprised that Nintendo did. And there's an interesting history to that game too that I definitely recognize you guys go and look up. Cool. Okay, so let's see. Went over that. Oh, and I did want to do a little recommendation really quickly, you guys. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I saw another video today that I thought maybe would be of interest to some of you. Let me see if I can find it again here really quickly. Where are you? Yeah, there we are. Okay, let's share. Let's copy the link, and then let's bring the link over. Okay, I thought this was super cool. So, Coronado Studio. I had never stumbled across this channel before today, but he basically took his retro gaming handheld, and these all, well, most of them come with a app. I don't know what you'd really call it, a program on them called Portmaster. And so I encourage you to go watch the video. It's not very long. It's 11 minutes long. Even shorter than that if you increase the playback speed. But he took some genius from, I don't remember where he said, I think he told me, he says where they're from in there, but he took the old Rockbox program from years ago. And I actually went and commented on this video. Let's see where, let me see if I can find it. Newest, probably be among the newest, maybe not. Yep, right there. So we're called Rockbox, and made it so that you can put it on your, in this case, I think he's using the same that I have, the RG 35XX. And you can basically, because it has a headphone jack, you can turn it into a music player and not spend hundreds of dollars on a DAP, a digital audio player, which I guess is what they call MP3 players now. But anyway, I had to comment on this because I watched this and I just couldn't believe it that when I was watching it that's how he did it. Because, just to read my own words here, let's see here. Let me see if I can get to, okay, right there. You can kind of see how he's got it. Oh, nope, go back. Trying to find. So he goes, and he actually does a walkthrough here. So if you're curious about how to do it, there we go. There's a good view of and there's a theme for Rockbox that lets you make it look basically exactly like the old iPod user interface. But if we go down here, I had to comment because, let me see. Okay, I said, too funny. I installed Rockbox on my iPod back in 2005 with my family computer, which was a Windows machine, via a bootable Linux disk. So all of these firsts for me were happening all at once. It was my first time using Linux because I had to, because that was the only way Rockbox, you could get the computer to communicate with the iPod to put Rockbox on it. It was my first time. This was before they even called it jailbreaking, my friends. Like, this was my first time jailbreaking an iPod, and it was before the jailbreaking term had been coined for iPods. Anyway, so yeah, this video was a full circle moment, 20 years in the making for me. The best part, I have a 35XX to try this out on. So anyway, this is, if you're a tinkerer, or if you have one of these retro handhelds laying around that you don't use a bunch and you're looking for a way to create an MP3 player, go do it. It's and yeah, I'll link this video in the description as well so that you'll be able to find it. So, and then yeah, I think the only other thing, guys, was I just wanted to share. When I did post on Instagram, and I can't remember if I did on YouTube or not, but I found a game that I've wanted to play for a long time. It is the Beetle Adventure Racing. I didn't have it when it first launched back in the day. I think I had a friend that did, and it looked like it was a lot of fun, but for some reason, I never ended up getting to play it. And yeah, I'm excited to give that a try, especially when the M64 starts shipping. I'm really excited for the M64, being able to, sort of natively do some upscaling and not always be needing the old video cords. But guys, that is, I think, everything I've got for you today. One thing I would show, if I can find it, let's go here. So I went ahead and made an Eventbrite event, I guess you would call it, for Intech. So basically what this is we've got a small but fun lineup. Myself, Jose, the good guys over at Sleek, Dumb Wireless, and then, as you could imagine, a bunch of maybes coming. And so what it's going to be is a meetup gathering. I don't necessarily want to call it a convention because I don't know how big it's going to be, but where we're all focusing on intentional and retro tech. So retro tech, including retro gaming, privacy tech. So, any of the phones that have a privacy OS on them, or any devices that are helping with it, software, you name it, anti-distraction stuff, stuff that helps you focus and get your work done, and then get out and then get off of your devices instead of sucking you into the doom scroll and the brain rot. Minimalist tech, so dumb phones, obviously, Jose and dumb wireless, sleek kind of being one of those software induced dumb phones, some good representation there. QWERTY devices, I've started reaching out to some companies, and again, like I said, I've got a lot of maybes. I've got a maybe from Sidephone, I've got a maybe from Minimal, I've got a that's way too far out for me to be able to say yet, from Clicks. So a bunch of maybes, and then parent and kid tech. So this is something that is of growing concern. I don't want to be handing over a smartphone, or what's even worse is we're seeing an AI friend to my kids. And I would hope that the broader society doesn't do that either, even though it is becoming more common. So I want to highlight the kinds of parent, kid, teen tech that can help with that. And so I figured, let's host an event, the Intentional and Retro Tech Gathering, August 15th. It's a Saturday. We'll make it an all-day event. Matt, thanks so much for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Come with more jokes. I appreciate it. And it'll be in Salt Lake City. Don't have a venue yet, just because it is several months out. Not exactly sure what type of a head count we're going to have, and so I don't quite know what kind of a venue to get. So if you are even a little bit interested, or think that you might be able to come, it's a free, no commitment registration on the website, but it is super helpful in, like I said, boosting the reach of it on Eventbrite, for among other local events that are going to be happening, so some of the local people can see it, as well as helping me plan for a venue. So guys, it's been great. Thank you so much, especially those of you that have been tuning in from the East Coast or even further, that are maybe in different time zones. Like I mentioned last week, I really have a lot of fun doing the live streams. Thanks to Mrs. Retro, wherever she went, probably taking care of the dogs, or maybe one of the kids woke up. This was a lot of fun, and it's fun because of you guys. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you sharing in my intentional tech change up with me, and I really, really hope that the stuff that I have been able to, put out there in the way of the posts, or the videos, or the shenanigans, or the annoying enthusiasm that I have been beneficial at best, or entertaining at least, to you, my fellow retroverts. So signing off for tonight. Appreciate you. Big thanks to everyone. Special thanks to Matt for the super chats. But